Well, today I'm going to be installing a Wouxun KG-1000G on my 2014 Jeep Rubicon, and I've done a little bit of pre-work just to kind of speed up this process, but we're going to do this without any takes, without any cutting and splicing or special effects. Okay, so the work that I did beforehand is I went ahead and just did a quick pre-install on the bracket that holds the antenna. Now this is a Topsy bracket that's specifically designed for the Jeep Wrangler, and you can see that it takes the curvature of the hood and uses the current existing fender bolt. So there's actually no reason to go through the process of drilling this fender unless you use a very large antenna. They include a secondary bolt. In the event that you install a large antenna, you can install the second bolt that keeps this bracket from rotating. And the bracket is actually designed with a little knockout right here, and that's where the fender bolt goes. Now, interesting enough, this bracket, technically speaking, if this fender bolt loosens, can fall off, but it won't be lost on the trail because you'll have the antenna connected to this and the wire, of course, going into the interior of the vehicle. So that would hold it, probably plopping on the side or whatnot. But small antenna like a ghost antenna, which is what I'm going to be installing today, no problem. I have no concerns whatsoever. You can install this in one of what looks like to be 4 locations. The closest to the firewall, fender bolt, mid-hood, or driver's side. And I really went back and forth whether I wanted to be on the passenger or the driver's side. And ultimately, I decided it's just closer to the firewall where all the wires are going to be run in. And easily I could create a little loop here, make it all nice and tidy, and no reason to draw it across the width of the Jeep. So the other thing that I did, and I do have to say that the hood may make, you may have recognized this, Topsy sells these as a stainless steel fender mount, okay? And this is actually, I tried using some DIY, like Linux came out of a can, didn't turn out very well. So I took it to a pro shop right down the road, and for all of $20, they went ahead and Linux this. So it has given it a little bit thicker dimension. What are we talking, a 1/16 of an inch? It does make a little bit of contact with the hood, and probably not enough to do any long-term or permanent damage, but I happen to have a 2-inch strip of PPF, PPF, anyhow, it doesn't matter, that'll fit this perfectly. And so I'm just going to go ahead and create a teeny little strip of it right here on the edge where the hood makes contact with the bracket, so that way the paint will never be damaged. And I've got a piece already I pre-cut. And so what I'm going to do is, well, I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to do this. Give me just a second here, and I'm going to go ahead and wipe it down, make sure that there isn't anything on the paint. And it's just this leading edge. So the only thing I'm doing here is just cleaning the edge. And you can use rubbing alcohol, or in this case, I've got a on-hand degreaser. It's a product that ensures that that surface is absolutely clean. I got nothing to be concerned about. And I'll do a quick wipe down. I'm not going to be too concerned about it. And this is way too much. I'm actually going to cut this down a little bit. Okay, that's all I need right there. A very small little strip. So make sure all the tools are out of the engine compartment. And I'm just going to go ahead and lightly set this down. And all I want is I just want this on the edge of the hood. And take the cleanest cut here. Let's see if I can do this. See if I can make this look like I want to. Perfect. Yep, this is gonna turn out just great. Okay, so that's the edge of the hood. And this PPF stuff is just so forgiving. Nice, good seam. Can't even see it. That's it. We're done. Okay, so the bracket is ready to be bolted down. I see absolutely no reason why we can't do that now. This is going to be, funny enough, 10 millimeter. I know everybody's surprised. I don't know what the torque rating is on this, but that's okay. I'm going to make sure that that bracket is seated very nice. Now, the only thing I'm going to do, these bolts aren't terribly too tight. So just give it a couple of good turns and that's it. Nice and tight. I'd say 10 foot-pounds. But if I can't pull it out, we're good to go. Bracket's been installed. Now the next thing I'm going to do, this is so slick. I'm super excited about this. Okay, so Midland sells a cable. Now this is a lot more cable than I'll need, but that's okay. And this cable is going to go in to the bottom of this bracket. Very easy to install. We've got kind of an alligator tooth here. I would consider that a lock nut. Goes on the bottom of this. And we can route this cable any which way we want. I'm actually going to go facing towards the firewall because I'm going to bring it back around. We have a nice little plastic grommet here that needs to be fed in right on top of that. And then we screw the top of the mount on. Now the great thing is, even with the additional material from the bed liner, I didn't have to shave this again. And I am going to go ahead and have that come right there. That looks really good. I'm very pleased with that. Yeah, very pleased. Now, what I would suggest doing is just hand tightening for now, and then I'll come back and I'll retighten everything nice and tight and secure. But this is a really cool thing about the Midland cable, and I specifically bought the Midland cable. There's a lot of other cables that you can buy. You know, I looked at several on Amazon, but this is what makes the Midland cable so special, is that, you know, obviously feeding this through the firewall, this is a rather thick coax, but we can simply unscrew the head, and now that's all I have to feed in. So makes the installation a lot better, a lot easier. In fact, I'm going to leave that off for now. We're going to put that off to the side. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to go ahead and go in the interior of the Jeep, and I want to fish through where the wire is going to come through, because I need to bring the coax and the power through. So let's go ahead and do that right now. And please excuse this, maybe a little jerkiness. I told you I wouldn't do this with any cutting or splicing of this video. Okay, so okay, we got a panel on the side of the Wrangler right here on the passenger side, and this is duplicated on the driver and passenger side. And this is an access panel in the dash. Oh, let me see here. We've got, perfect, car panel removal tool. And it comes in a assortment of different tools. This one here that I got off of Amazon, I think it was all of $7. So the nice thing about this is that we've got all kinds of options, and thicknesses that we can choose from, kind of a generic, 4 different, and really at $7 they almost become disposable. But I kind of like this size because of the panel. It looks like somebody already tried opening it, but that's okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and take that, and you just give it a little pry. There we go. And you'll work your way around, and you can hear that. Give it a little pop. There we go. Another little pop. Okay. All right. And there is a little notch at the top there. So as you pull it out, you want to bring it down a little bit. And that's it. We're done. So we have access to the passenger side. And I'm going to zoom in so that you can see this. But here we've got expanding foam inside the passenger and the firewall of the engine. And that expanding foam is super easy to open up. I'm going to zoom in so you can see that specific area. So there's the expanding foam we're talking about. Whoop. There we go. And then I'm going to get my handy dandy push through tool. Handy dandy. And it's just simply a metal coat hanger that I took the ends off of. And this should allow me to push through that expanding foam and into the firewall. And I'm going to try to go in the center, but it's not terribly too important as to just, there we go. Okay, I'm already through. Didn't take much effort at all. And I'm going to push it through until I've got plenty of room to then go on the opposite side and attach that cable to. So let's just do that. I'm going to leave this right where it is. No, actually, I changed my mind. Okay, I'm going to go back to the engine compartment and show you where it comes out. Okay? And so here we are. We're in the engine compartment. And you can see it comes out on that cowling right here. Okay, but now I've got something that I can pull back through. And I'm going to go ahead and tape this onto my push wire. And I'll probably just use little painter's tape. You can use electrical tape, duct tape. And actually, I've got some duct tape. So that's what I'm going to use, because duct tape's a little bit stronger. And of course, it may not be duct brand. This is a poly tarps. Anyhow, but good stuff. Okay. Hopefully that didn't hurt your ears. And I'm going to do a couple, actually. And I'll tell you why. I like to really get a solid grip on this. And I usually don't do it at the end of the cable. I come 2 to 3 inches above the cable, or above the end of the cable. And that really provides me with a lot of surface area to grab. And I'll show you how I've done this. I think this will probably take the longest to redo this or undo it once we're through. And I'll just create a little dog tag there. Okay. So you can see that I've wrapped approximately 4 inches. Let's just come up here and really make it so that there's no chance. There we go. I kind of created this, almost this bullet shape. There we go. Perfect. And so I might give it a little bit of slack here on the end, obviously, just to allow this to go through the engine compartment, through that firewall, and now I've got plenty of room to bring it inside the vehicle. Okay? So going on the opposite side, I'm going to go ahead and give this a good pull. And we're through. Super easy. I did get a little bit of resistance. Now, you might ask, well, what's going on with the power, right? How am I going to get power back in? Well, I'm going to pull through enough that I can actually use this now to pull the power cable back through. So I'll show you how that works here in just a minute. Now, like I said, undoing all this electrical, or excuse me, this duct tape is probably going to take longer than pulling it through, but that's okay. Certainly pulling it through didn't take any time at all. What was that? 15 seconds? I cannot wait to show you the bracket that I'm going to be using. That's what I'm really most excited about, is the bracket that I'm going to be using to install the CB. I really think it's going to turn out to be a very clean install. And after all, that's what we aim for, right? Is a clean install. Okay, so I've got lots of slack here. Now the only editing I think I'm going to do is I may have to, well, we'll see. Okay, so now we need power. And I don't think that the power cable that the radio came with is quite long enough. And there's really only one way to tell, is to just go ahead and start working with it. So this is the KG-1000 power cable. Now, I gotta tell you, let's see here. How is this done up? Well, that's super interesting. That's pretty thick, and I honestly don't know if this would fit through the firewall. So I am just going to go ahead and leave this to the interior of the vehicle. This will make for a super clean install anyways. And now I know that I've got plenty of room to work with this. So going to grab my 14 gauge wire. And this is just going to be dedicated to going through the firewall. We've got, I think, 25 feet, which is overkill. So, of course, I'm going to have to cut that up. But that's okay. 14 gauge was sufficient for the radio. I checked the specs, made sure, but you could do 10 gauge if you really wanted to. And of course, this is really going to be a short run anyways, just from right next to the firewall to the battery. But I'm going to leave myself more than enough room because you never know. Now we could use either side of this this cable now that it goes through the firewall. Since I'm standing right here, I'm just going to go ahead and use this end. A little bit of duct tape. And I really think the last one was probably overkill, but that's okay. I think I'm going to try it with just this little bit of duct tape. Worst case scenario, I'll have to retape it. Make sure I got more than enough slack. Okay. I'm going to pull that through. Just a teeny bit of resistance. I lost the red. Okay. But I have the black, so that's good. And I gotta say, this is actually quite fun. Having you along makes the install that much more enjoyable. Okay. We're going to pull that wire back through again, just to give us a little more slack. I'm going to try using that same piece of duct tape. Okay, here we are. And back through. Yep, perfect. Okay, I got positive, I got negative, and I've got the cable for the antenna. All right. So at this point, we're ready to install the stereo, get that going, run the wires behind the glove compartment. Let's go ahead and show you how that's done. Okay, so here we are in the inside of the Jeep through the firewall. And, you know, I would typically recommend putting a little more spray foam, expanding foam in here. But the way that this install has gone, because I pushed through right in the middle of that expanding foam, there really isn't much to add to that. So I would say at this point, we're good to go. Now, I usually like to make this look as aesthetically appealing as possible. So let's go ahead and remove my Blue Ridge glove compartment. bag. Love this thing. It's like double the size of the glove compartment. And what I really like is that the interior has got this different color material, so it's easy to see in there when it's fairly dark. Okay, so here's the glove compartment. You just squeeze the glove box in just a little bit, and it pops right out. Easy peasy. And you squeeze it in right on the back side of the glove compartment. There's two little tabs right here, and we're looking at the back side of the glove compartment. You can let it actually fall onto these two little tabs, and then you'll be able to see it a little more. But if you just squeeze in right there, it'll pop right out. And if there's a lot of resistance, you know you're doing something wrong. Okay, so I'll take the first cable and I'll run it inside this panel below the speaker. And if I can come alongside, let's see here. Okay, and it's coming to the bottom of the glove compartment area. And I'll show you here in just a minute what that looks like. But this will be great because I'll come along here and then I'll make everything look pretty and zip tie it. And I think I'm going to make my connection right here where I've got plenty of room to work with. I'm going to make my connection to the Wouxun, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, the Wouxun radio right here. Because then I can splice everything. I've got lots of room and I can make it look all nice and tidy. Okay, so I'm just bringing it to the inside of the engine compartment, right below the speaker. And the wires are wanting to come up right into this area. Let's see if I can fish the negative out. Use the same trick. It's negative wires not popping up where I want it. So there's really no hard, fast set rule where you route your wires once you're behind this trim piece. But I really like to make sure, well, actually the one thing that you do want to make sure, okay, is that you don't pinch the wires. So before you finally commit to how these wires are going to be ran and zip tying everything, there we go, there's the negative, and zip tying everything, is that you do want to go ahead and just make sure, there we go. Okay, perfect. Okay, you want to make sure it's not pinched by any of the components, like the glove compartment. And you know, I think my concern with how this is currently going, okay, yeah, there we go. There we go, perfect. I'm gonna route it. Okay. No way that these wires are going to get pinched. So I'll come in here. Give me just a second. Oh, that's great. And you can see the bar here that I was trying to route around. Um, these wires actually come in, and they're just under the installed factory speaker, right? And I might zip tie those there. Yeah. Just to make sure. I got to remember where I put my zip ties. Got my bucket of zip ties. Bucko. And provide me with an assortment to use. And the little ones, boy, they sure do come in handy too. Okay. Where? Let's pick that up. Okay. There we go. Yep. Just going to create a loop. There we go. Yep. Okay, that looks good. Just double checking my wire run here. I usually like to have plenty of space to work with when I'm working with wire and cable. Oh, that's fantastic. Look at that. What? That came back down over in that corner. Okay. So here we've got the coax cable. In fact, I'll screw the end back on. And for now, this is just hand tight. But I'll come back and I'll get it really nice and tight. So you can see here, I've got plenty of room to work with. Well, hopefully you can see there. Now I think I'm going to have to change space. Okay. Okay, so this is what area of focus I'm going to be. So I got plenty of wire to work with. Now remember, I'm going to actually pull this into the void behind behind the glove compartment. So this is going to be tidied up. Now I'm going to have to feed the Wouxun wire up through where it's going to go eventually. So let's do that now. And then I can use a butt connector. I'm going to take one more look at this here. Okay. So. There we go. Well, it actually looks like I don't have the butt connectors. So I will be splicing this video. That's all right. That's okay. Okay, so the mount that I got, so I actually got this mount from Rugged Radios. It's, for what it is, it's rather expensive, but you know, I looked at all the different options on how to install this radio, and there's a radio mount above the mirror, and I'm really going to have a lot going on. I got a vector bar, and so got a 10-inch iPad and my phone and a couple of GoPros, and so it gets really busy up there. But I really wanted it in a little more discreet location, and I found a couple of mounts. One that's available, and you remove the plastic here on the hump, and there's actually a bolt right here, and it's considered a quick disconnect. I looked at it. I actually ordered it. I have one. That I looked at very closely, but this thing is super robust. I got to tell you, if you have any issues with this, you're probably rolling down a hill. But this gets installed on the seat using the seat bolt. Okay, the radio is going to come up here, and then you adjust where the radio sits. So we're going to go ahead and install this, and it gets installed so that it's close to It's close to, it's not on top of, it's close to the center console. So here we've got a 18 millimeter socket. Okay. Might have to get my breaker bar for this. Oh, this was for my 3/8. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, here we are. All right. All right. Well, once that radio goes in place, or I should say the bracket, I retorque this down. It ain't going anywhere. So that's fantastic. I don't know what the torque specs are on the seat bolts yet. They're probably 50, 60 pounds, but I'll definitely get that. And I'll put it in the comments. Now, I am not sponsored or affiliated with Rugged or any of the other links that I'll be providing you. I will provide you with affiliate links to the wiring I used, as well as the Midland coaxial cable, so you won't even have to look for it. Now, this bolt goes in here, and then you just reinstall it. I mean, it really doesn't get much easier than that. Now, before I go through the process of reinstalling this bolt, and actually I want to put a little lubricant on it, because of how close it is to the center console and the transmission console, I actually want to pre-install my radio mount. And so the cool thing is that Rugged, if you buy one of their radios, okay, they give you these black textured radio mounts, okay, and the hardware as well. Well, I don't need the radio mount because I'm installing a Wouxun, but I will use the hardware. So that saves me a trip to the hardware store if I had if I had the wire splice but connections. But anyhow, they do use a hex bolt, so you got to find that. Okay, not a big deal. Would have been nice if they had included it, but that's all right. I'm going to go to my toolbox here very quickly. It's right behind the camera. You can't see it. And grab the appropriate size. Sure hope everybody's as entertained as I am, right? You know, and that's okay, because some of these times, sometimes you go to install something, you've got, you know, best laid plans, right? And you run into an issue, you know, lack of a part or something along that nature. Just got to be flexible. And when you're flexible, well, I have a tendency to enjoy myself more when I give myself flexibility. And I think that's important. Whenever you're doing a project, I won't tell you how many years it's taken me to learn this, but when you do a project, give yourself more time than you think and be willing to accept the fact that some things are outside of your control. Right? Okay. So I'm going to be pre-installing my radio bracket to the CB mount. I just got to find it. That's the hard part, right? Okay. Nope, not there, not there, not there. Aha! It was black. Faded in with the floor mat. So Wouxun, this is what the Wouxun mount looks like. Lots of holes, nice texture, lots of options in mounting. And this is the back side of the radio. This is the front side of the radio. So when we're installing it on this bracket, I'm going to take this bolt back out. Okay. So when we're installing it on the radio, or the bracket onto the mount, and you can see here that the bottom of the Wouxun radio is just, this bracket's too thick. However, I'm going to install two of those bolts through here and one through here. So we'll have 3 points of contact, which for a light duty or a light radio like the Wouxun, I really don't expect there to be any issues. Once I saw I had 3 very solid places to mount, I was super happy with this. This is a great solution. Now, unfortunately, this is so tight up against the console that once we get this bolted in, there's really no way to tighten this. So I'm just going to do a very soft temporary install. And